Yo, what is good, YouTube? Krishan checking back in with another video. If you would like to support me or the channel in any way, you can do so by liking this video and subbing to the channel. So in today's video, I'll actually be doing a comparison between Chris Bumstead's 2019 Mr. Olympia version, where he won his first Mr. Olympia, and Urs Kalecinski from the 2021 Mr. Olympia, where he placed fourth. Now, the reason for me making this video is I honestly feel like Urs gets a lot of flack and a lot of people feel like he isn't classic and shouldn't be placing this high. And I also did a comparison of him and Ramon Dino, and people are like, how do you think Urs is more classic than Ramon? And this was a great comment put up on the channel by Gibran Camus. I'll probably butcher his name, but my diehard fans, you guys should pause this and actually read this word for word. But he basically says a classic physique is basically whatever the judges deem it to be. And I know a lot of us want it to be the golden era of physiques, but with Chris Bumstead constantly being rewarded, and a lot of people feel like Chris doesn't have the most classic physique. In my opinion, I feel like Breon should have beat Chris Bumstead in 2019 because he had weaker arms and a weak back. But we just have to take classic physique for what it is. So at this year's past Mr. Olympia, Urs Kalecinski was considered more classic by the judges than Ramon Dino because he placed ahead of him. And Chris Bumstead is the most classic bodybuilder on the planet and has been for the past 3 years. So going ahead and starting off this comparison, and I really just wanted to point out the similarities in these guys' physique. And right off the bat, you guys will notice that Chris is a lot wider than Urs Kalecinski, but I feel like Urs is the closest physique to Chris Bumstead out of the top 5. I'm not saying that he's extremely close, guys, but between Terrence, Breon, and Ramon, Urs Kalecinski definitely compares the best with the champ. And that's why he gets so many comparisons, and that's why people say his future is so bright. Now, even though Chris had weaker arms even in 2019, his arms weren't as weak as Urs, but as you guys can see, it's a lot of similarities here. I mean, Urs has better lines, honestly, in his quads, but Chris has nice quads. Chris has better lats than Urs, but Chris honestly still wins this shot, man. That's crazy to say. Even the 2019 version of Chris Bumstead would still be Urs Kalecinski from this year. But we're going to go ahead and go over to the side chest pose. And this is honestly crazy, guys. Even in 2019, Urs is still a long way away from beating Chris Bumstead. I believe Urs can put on about 10 to 15 more pounds in his weight class. And once again, I made this video to actually highlight Urs because I feel like he gets talked down about a lot. But when you get compared to Chris Bumstead, it's honestly not going to look too good for you, man, just in all honesty. But here you can see some similarities, but once again, Urs is just a lot smaller. Chris does have weaker arms in comparison to guys like Breon Ainsley, but even here, Chris' arms are a lot bigger than Urs Kalecinski's. But Urs definitely does have a great execution of this pose, and you know, maybe with 10 or 12 more pounds, he may be able to challenge Chris in a side chest pose. Now going to the back double bicep, and here, guys, is kind of why I want to make my argument, because a lot of people argue that how is Urs classic? You know, he doesn't have the best arms or, you know, necessarily the best back. But this is a version of Chris Bumstead that won the Mr. Olympia. And Chris, in comparison to the guys on that stage, had weaker arms. And you can see here, it looks like he has a higher level of dryness in his back than Urs does. But Urs may honestly be winning in the back department. Actually, he isn't winning in the back department because Chris is just bigger and his delts are bigger. But and in comparison, you could make an argument that Chris Bumstead is lower body heavy in his back double bicep. He is a little more symmetrical than Urs, but you could make that argument. But we're really just looking at the similarities between the two guys, not really too much of a comparison. And this I really just put up because it's an ab and thigh shot, but this execution by Urs isn't a really good execution. He honestly should change this, and hopefully at his next show he will. But Chris definitely will be winning this by a mile. But Urs has some crazy separation and some crazy lines in his legs. But just keep in mind, guys, out of the guys in the top 5, Urs is he would definitely match up with Chris muscle for muscle, probably the best. And in this pose, I actually like Urs' execution, man. He actually looks to be in better condition than Chris Bumstead. He looks like a statue in all honesty, but Chris is just so much wider and his lats are just so much more filled out. I mean, you could probably make an argument for Urs winning this shot, but I mean, it is a classical pose and they do hit multiple, but Urs definitely stacks up with Chris Bumstead pretty well in this shot. Now, I don't believe Urs is going to beat Chris Bumstead anytime soon, maybe not even at all, but the main argument is out of the top 5, Urs probably matches up with Chris Bumstead the best. And here, as I just said, guys, Chris is in a completely different league. And this was 2019 Chris when he won his first Olympia. And this just shows you 2019 Chris, how far he is ahead of Urs even from 2021, man, which is insane. But once again, guys, this video is mostly, honestly, I want to highlight Urs some and just show why I feel like he's so similar to Chris Bumstead. And we all want Classic to be golden era bodybuilding, but in reality, we have to go off what the judges pick. And it seems like Chris Bumstead is the face of Classic. So naturally, as fans, whoever matches up best with the champ, we're probably going to look at him next to be the guy who could potentially win. So that's why a lot of people look at Urs as being one of the best. People say he isn't Classic because he doesn't have the best arms or necessarily, you know, like I said, the best back. But Chris Bumstead won his first Mr. Olympia title with some of the weakest arms up there and one of the weakest backs. And that's just a fact, guys. So, in my opinion, I believe this division is more of a Chris Bumstead division. Even though I wish it was more of a golden era division, we just had to go on this division on how it's judged. So, I know this video maybe kind of came off as a little rant, but I hope you guys did indeed enjoy this video, man. A like, comment, and sub. I'm out.